Misery Chastain is a psychological thriller novel written by Stephen King in 1984. In the 80s, King wrote under the effects of drug and alcohol, and the Misery history unconsciously tells about this condition of drug addiction. The Misery romance tells about a writer, Paul Sheldon, became famous thanks to several romances on Misery Chastain. As tradition, to complete this work, Paul goes to an hotel in Colorado, leaving the chaotic New York. Also in this case, the writer Sheldon shows similarities with King, that just sitting at a desk in an hotel in London gives life to misery. Paul, once finished the novel, before returning to New York, always uncorks a bottle of champagne and smokes a cigarette. In this way, he fails to toast and honor his book before returning at home. But this time, on the way back, he will have an horrible surprise, a snowstorm, which will result in an accident. Apparently luckily, a woman, Hannah Wilkes, saves him. After a few days of unconsciousness, the hero wakes up. Annie, nurse practitioner, will take care of him. Paul, for gratitude, will give her his latest manuscript. Annie will read it, but she will have an unpleasant revelation.
You dirty bird. How could you? She can't be dead. Misery Chastain cannot be dead.
Annie, in 1871, women often died in childbirth. But her spirit is the important thing, and Misery's spirit is still alive.
I don't want her spirit! I want her! And you murdered her!
No, I didn't.
Who did?
No one. She died. She just slipped away.
Slipped away? Slipped away? She didn't just slip away! You did it! 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 You murdered my Misery!
Annie!
I thought you were good, Paul. But you're not good. You're just another lying old dirty birdie. And I don't think I better be around you for a while. And don't even think about anybody coming for you. Not the doctors, not your agent, not your family, because I never called them. Nobody knows you're here. And you better hope nothing happens to me. Because if I die, you die.
But their psyche is unpredictable. The madness that leads to degeneration is a central topic. Annie, for this reason, is one of the bad more unbearable in the history. The day after the first crisis, Annie announces to Paul that she has found a solution. he has to burn his book. The day after, Annie is again happy. She decides to give to Paul a typewriter and she orders him to write a new book. But this time, the final has to be different. Paul pretends to agree, but seeing on the ground an eclipse, he imagines the possibility of escape from the prison house. So Paul complains with Annie that he cannot write because on that paper the ink melts. She gets very angry.
What's the matter? I'll tell you what's the matter. I go out of my way for you. I do everything to try and make you happy. I feed you, I clean you, I dress you, and what thanks do I get?
Oh, you bought the wrong paper, Annie. I can't write on this paper, Annie.
Well, I'll get your stupid paper, but you just better start showing me a little more appreciation around here, Mr. Man.
As she goes to town to buy what Paul wants, he readily retrieves the clip and uses it to unlock the door. It is the first time that he comes out of his room after weeks, but the escape is not successful, as he discovers that the door is locked from the outside. This will not be the only time that Paul will come out of his room. In fact, a few days later, Paul comes out again and finds a memory album of Annie. In the first pages there are her baby pictures. Then he finds her certificates of her nursery school. The following pages are full of cutouts of assassinations in which Annie is involved. These are merely fantasies of infants put to death through wrong treatment. Paul discovers that his captor is a serial killer. Returning to the room, he accidentally moves a ceramic penguin placed on a table in the living room. In this way, Annie turns out that Paul has left his room, but in the book, Annie understands it thanks to her that she herself passed on the floor. She decides to tie and punish him and breaks him both ankles. Even in this case, there are differences from the book in which Annie amputates with an axe the left foot of Paul. While she punishes him, she says that she loves him, and in the movie there is another part in which Annie physical abuses of Paul. The sick mind of Annie and the spirit of survival of Paul remind us how the human being can adapt to every situation. There are many differences between the book and the movie, but they do not affect the quality of the work. In 1990, Rob Reiner directs it, and Kathy Bates in Annie wins the Oscar Award for Best Actress. Stephen King is the king of thrills, and he distinguished himself for his ability to capture the reader in explosive creativity. Among the many successful works of King, there are It, The Clown Murderers, published in 1986 and considered as the masterpiece of King, and Shining, the thriller book published in 1977. It was directed by Stanley Kubrick in the 80s. For a long time, Stephen King was underestimated by literary criticism, but since the 90s, his career changed. Stephen King is now considered by many to be the king of the narrative.